Welcome back to the Tailgate Connect podcast. I'm your host, Luke Lorick with Tailgate Challenge. I love tailgating, and part of tailgating is food and beverages. On our podcast tonight, we have Shanisty, who's going to give us some amazing tailgating and homegating tips to take it to the next level at your tailgating parties. Stay tuned for that.
Gather round tailgaters, hear the call, it's game day, y'all. Let's have a ball across the states from college to NFL. Tailgate Connect's got a story to tell.
All right, welcome back to the Tailgate Connect podcast, your podcast for everything tailgating. And today we have a very special guest with us today. And I say special, and I mean that sincerely. Shanisty Ireland is with us today, and she is going to help expand our knowledge and maybe our thought process with how we do our foods and beverages, some of our tailgating and homegating events. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I love this topic because, I feel like we've gone so long without a proper tailgate, and now August has rolled around and we're ready to go.
We are. I'm over here literally rubbing my hands together because I am excited about it. Just thinking about tailgating being around the corner. I'm a believer too that hey, we could tailgate for anything. It doesn't have to be just for football, but we know football is king or queen when it comes to tailgating. And so a lot of people are ready for tailgating, and they're going to want some of these tips that you're going to drop for us today. So I want to ask just a little bit, just tell us a little bit of background, how did you get into the food and beverage space, and where does the passion come from?
Oh my gosh, I'm glad you asked. So I'm a former television news anchor. I did that for 10 years of my life and started having kids and ended up having 5 kids.
Okay.
And realized very quickly that that lifestyle just wasn't really conducive to what I wanted to do. So whenever I left the industry, it was right at the time of YouTube was popping off and Instagram and all the social media and blogging. And so I started just diving right into that. And now what I do is basically talk to wonderful people like yourself. I appear on television stations, radio stations, podcasts all over the nation talking about everything from back to school to tailgating and the food passion and the drink. I mean, I love to cook. I say it with an asterisk because I do have 5 kids. So the likelihood of them eating what I cook is very slim because, mom's food is never as good as Taco Bell down the street.
Wow.
It's so funny because that literally happened tonight. I made this delicious food and I was like, hey guys, when I'm done talking to Luke, you guys can eat all of this. And my 12-year-old's like, yeah, but I mean, Taco Bell's so easy. That's what he ended up eating. But it's okay though, because I love entertaining. And like you said, I'm a firm believer in that as well. You can tailgate, you can entertain for anything. We actually had a huge Masters party here. We're really big into golf as well here. And anything from football, baseball, golf, I'm all about entertaining and I'm all about the tailgate scene.
Well, I will just say that I believe the food in front of you right there is better than Taco Bell. No offense to Taco Bell over there, but yeah, I prefer some homemade, delicious goodness personally.
Yeah.
Out there. All right. So again, since we are a tailgating show, tell me, aside from the food, what brings you in? Why do you enjoy a good tailgating?
It's fun. It's fun to get together with folks. I mean, here's the thing about tailgating is whether you care about the team or not, or whether you care about the sport or not, it's just a good excuse to get together with friends and family. It's a good excuse to come together for something positive. Hopefully your team wins. That doesn't always happen, but it's just fun. I think that just bringing everyone together, whether it's March Madness or whether it's a football game, and you'll have people that are just there to watch the commercials, and that's okay too. But it's just really a great excuse to bring everybody together, whether you're home gating, which we do a lot of, or whether you're actually going down to the stadium and getting in the parking lot and you're tailgating right there on the site.
Well, I'm a believer too. You mentioned it's more fun when your team wins. I'm a believer that, hey, you can't lose a tailgate If you do it right, you
Yes.
can't lose the tailgate. Undefeated at
Yes.
tailgating, right?
Yeah, you need to have shirts made and send me one because I need a shirt with that motto. 100%. As long as you've got the food, you've got the drink, and you have everything set up there that you need, it's a win-win. That's for sure.
Agreed. Agreed. Now, tell me one more thing about you, and then we'll get into some tips.
Okay.
Like, because I want to know, and I don't know the answer to this. Like, do you have a football team? And if so, give them a shout out right now.
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I was like, I don't want people to not like me. But okay, here's the deal, Luke. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I'm not a Buckeyes fan. I think honestly, being here in this city for as long as I have, I didn't go to Ohio State, so I'm not a Buckeyes fan. I lived in Alabama for a long time. I lived down in the SEC nation. So when I lived in Birmingham, I kind of took a hold of the Alabama trend. It was really happening. It was popping off. I went to Kentucky though. So I'm also a Kentucky basketball fan. Difficult to be a Kentucky football fan, but that's okay. I know it's a little tough. But then if we're talking about NFL, my family is originally from Chicago, and so we're Bears. Or lose, mostly lose. We're big Bears fans, Cubs fans. We're just pretty diehard with the Chicago. So I'm kind of all over the place. At the same time, I want to say, like, I don't necessarily absolutely despise a team. I think that, you know, especially living here in Ohio, we do a lot of Buckeyes tailgates, and
Sure.
that's okay. You know, it's all about just rooting for the home team. And I know that sounds cliche, but you know how it goes, especially if you live in a city that's not typically the fan of your team.
For sure, for sure. And
Yeah.
shameless plug here at
Yeah.
Tailgate Connect, we have an amazing host for Alabama games and for Ohio State games. So they can go right to them, hit tailgateconnect.com, and you can get tickets to them and a lot of other awesome easy button tailgates out there too. Okay, with that, you got a lot of food in front of you. You got a lot of food knowledge. Tell me some. Let's start with home gating because you're in your home right now. Like, what are some like home gating food tips that people need to know to elevate their home gating experience?
The very first thing I really suggest, this goes for home gating, tailgating, is really decide what kind of party this is going to be. Is this going to be very simple, like, hey, we're just throwing some brats and burgers on the grill? Or is this going to be a little bit more elaborate, like I've got a pork shoulder or I've been, smoking ribs all night? Figure that out first. And then I also like to tell people, do not be afraid to ask your guests to bring something. I think that long are those days where it's cliche. I think asking people to bring something, be it even a bag of chips or pork rinds or a case of beer or whatever it may be, asking them to bring something is really going to help that host. I like to stick with the handhelds. I like to stick with appetizers, lots of dips, lots of things that you can just pick up, wings, you can just pick up and go, as opposed to serving something that's going to be really elaborate. And another thing is, and I don't want to throw all the tips here in like 30 seconds, but also there's a lot of things that you can make ahead of time. I'm talking about macaroni and cheese casserole. If you're going to be doing a home gating or something like that, you can make that several days, even a couple of weeks ahead of time, freeze it, and then that way it's ready to go. So if you're home gating, so to speak, I think that you can do more. You can have more options. You've got more area. But if you're going to be tailgating, really trying to figure out exactly who's going to be there, take into account people will be joining you that you may not even know. People are
Oh
going to
yeah.
bring people. You're going to have more, you're going to need more food and more drink than you even is imaginable that's going to be consumed. And just trying to keep it pretty simple, especially if you're going to the stadium and you're trying to do something for people that are actually there on site at the game.
Excellent, excellent. So when we're thinking tailgating too, so we're trying to keep it simple because again, game it could be a lot of chaos, right? Of going to the
Mm-hmm.
game, getting the car packed up, getting 5 kids in the car. I don't have experience with that, but it sounds like that would be a job in and of itself for it. But tell me this: where do you like to go tailgating? Where's your favorite tailgating spot that you've ever been, and
Oh
why?
my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is going to go back to my Kentucky days.
Okay,
This is no joke. I'm talking about the Kentucky Derby and Keeneland and horse racing. not only do those people know how to party, it is wild. And you don't think that because what you see on TV is the big hats and the pretty dresses. But it is so fun. But also, sometimes you go to those horse races and you just tailgate the entire time. And then whenever you leave, you're like, I didn't even see a horse. I didn't even see a horse today.
I
That
didn't
I
even
mean,
see the game.
I
It
I
happens.
guess that happens. I love tailgating for any horse races, which is a little unique. I've been to Talladega. That's an experience. Living in
Okay.
Alabama, doing a little Dega. I am not big into racing. I could not tell you what I was even watching, but that was a big party as well. And then, of course, going down to the shoe, going down to Ohio State. It's just fun. I I don't like being very cold, and so I can handle the August September games, but man, once it gets to November in Ohio, I'm like I think I'm done. I'm not that diehard quite yet to tailgate for a game that's that cold.
Well, let me ask you this: in the spirit of like what you shared right there, and then obviously your affinity with food and beverages, is there a food and or drink that could make those colder days feel more pleasurable?
I mean, I probably shouldn't just say whiskey, but I mean whiskey.
There's no wrong answers
I
here.
mean, I think there's just a one word answer. No, just joking. But yeah, bringing the crock pot, maybe even creating we call it like the boot warmer. It's kind of like a cidery type drink that's got some whiskey in it and it's got cinnamon and it's got little, it's kind of like a fall flavor, got cloves, things like that. And then actually taking it in a crock pot down to the stadium. It's really nice and warm. Having any kind of a dip, maybe even some hot, spicy foods as well. That's going to get the palate going, going to get the taste buds going a little bit. Um, as much as I love cold beer, and I think beer is just a staple for tailgating, it might be a little cold. I don't know. I don't know. I think that's a personal
Never too
preference.
cold for beer.
I know. I know. I love watching the Bears games, and when they're playing like Green Bay or whoever, and it's just a blizzard, and you just see these guys just chugging cold beer, and I'm like, I could do that. You probably could, Luke, but I don't know if I could. So I like sticking to the warmer drinks and maybe even some red wine. I don't know. Just something to warm you up a little bit on those cold days.
Okay, let me ask you this: when's the last
Sure.
time you chugged a beer?
Chugged a beer? Oh gosh. Let's see. Let me think. I mean, are you challenging me now?
No, just you brought it up about people chugging beer, so I was just asking the
Chugging
last time.
beers. Gosh, that has got to be a long time, probably quite a few years if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I mean, if we're going full shotgunning a beer, it's been a long, long time. If we're going chugging a beer, my cousin got married last year and I'm pretty sure there was some beer chugging on the bachelorette trip. It's a little blurry, but I'm pretty sure there was some there. So maybe last year would be a good answer for that.
No, and again, the older I get, I'm the same way. It's like I want a nicer craft beer and to be
Yes.
able to enjoy it versus just plowing through them over there.
Man,
So
I know. Yeah, back in the college days, the cheap beer. I don't know. I don't want to mention any brands because I don't know who you're affiliated with, but there's some cheap ones out there, and yeah, they're a dime a dozen in college. That's for sure.
well, in season one of our show, we are fully funded ourselves with no sponsor. You can say anything you want on this show.
Okay,
Season
that's
one,
good
at
to know.
least.
That's good to know. That's good to know. I'm like PBR, Natty Light,
Yeah.
all of those. Yeah, they're pretty fun in college. But I have some beers up here today. I
Yeah.
don't know
Tell
if
me
you're
about them.
familiar. I don't know if you're familiar with Columbus Brewing Company.
Heard of
But
them.
it's a really great brewery here, of course, in Columbus, Ohio. It's really popping off though in the Midwest. They've got really flavorful IPAs. Their most popular one is the Ohio Light, which is kind of like a garage beer or a Bud Light, just really approachable, really easy, really great if you're just going to be having some burgers or some hot wings at the tailgate. I have all of the IPAs up here. So there's just different flavors. This one is like citrusy. This one's Hop Legend, little hoppy, on the hoppy side. I also have a India Pale Ale and what is this? Juicy Double India Pale Ale. So really flavorful and delicious. I love, they of course come in these variety packs and they're really good. And you can also use them in recipes, actually, Luke. I made a beer cheese for you today. And
Oh, there we go.
I know, and I used one of these. I actually used this juicy one, Juicy Bodhi. This is one of their most popular beers, and it was so easy. It literally took me 5 minutes, so anyone can make this. It's got 3 different kinds of cheeses in it. It's got white cheddar, mozzarella, and it has Gruyere. I should know how to pronounce that. You know what I'm talking about?
You're
Oh
talking
my
about,
gosh.
but I don't
Isn't
know
that
if I could
awful?
say it either. So
And everyone watching is gonna be like, she's not an expert. Imposter syndrome. Anyway, that cheese is in here as well. Then I've got some garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, so it's got a little bit of spice. And then I put the beer and a little bit of milk and some butter and mix it up. And so this would be something that you could take down to a tailgate. You could put it into a small little crock pot, and it's served really well with pork rinds or pretzels. And yeah, so you can also use these beers, of course, in your, beer battered chicken and different things like that too. So
well, let me ask you this question then. So you gave us a wide variety of some of the Columbus Brewing flavors there. What's your favorite one to drink that you're not using the recipe to drink?
yeah, I really like this one, the Juicy Bodhi. This is the one that I, of course, made the cheese and then just drank the rest. So I really like this one. So yeah, this is a really good flavor. I also really like the Ohio Light one, just because it's really approachable. And if you're going to be having several of these at a tailgate,
It could happen.
I yeah, you can't really go strong on some people can go strong on the hops, but I like a lighter beer for sure if I'm going to be having several of them.
Excellent. So again, I'm a huge beer fan. I do love IPAs of all different
Hmm.
varieties out there too. So it sounds like Columbus Brewing should send me a few of those to try. Shameless plug
Yes.
right there.
Yeah.
But, like,
Blech.
so tell me this because I'm a big, I even have a flight board right here that I have made up for it. But it's like, tell me some of the best pairings because it's like, I love to try different beers, but like, give us some ideas of maybe things that people haven't thought about with pairing the beers. I know you had the cheese there. Is there other pairings you would recommend?
Yeah, and I mean, if you're going to be going with a heavy stout, which I actually love stouts, once again, I'm not going to be having 5 of them because they are very heavy, but I love a good stout. Those are really good with chocolate or anything sweet, a little bit on the sweeter end. The pale ales, I think, go really well with wings. They're bold flavor mashed with bold flavor. The lighter beer, I think, is perfect for like a juicy burger or ribs, because the food is such a big, powerful flavor that you want to kind of offset it a little bit with that. And then, of course, like the florally type beers, I'm talking about more citrusy, street tacos, things of that nature. And then the dips, I think any kind of dip really pairs well with any kind of beer. The wonderful thing about beer, unless it's a super heavy, super hoppy beer, I think it pairs with almost anything, but I don't think that something that's so bold like a stout is going to taste delicious with like tacos. That seems a little contrasting to me. But yeah, those are some of my favorite pairings. And then if we're going with the seltzers, lots of ladies like the seltzers. Those go very well with any kind of thing that's going to be a little bit on the lighter side. If you're going to be bringing lighter side things to your tailgate, most people don't, but I think I consider tacos a little bit on the lighter side, and you can pair those with kind of seltzers, or you can have a DIY cocktail bar set up. If
Yeah.
you do decide to do that, I really only recommend 1 or 2 cocktails. You don't want to get too extravagant because you got all the food set up and everything, and most likely people are just going to reach for a beer because it's easier. But you can do some of the cocktails as well, as long as you set it all up and people can kind of make their own.
Now, I feel like I got to call out something you said there. You said that, the ladies like the
Yeah.
seltzers. What about if there's some guys out there though? Is that
Guys,
okay? Or is that like, you got to give your man card up on that?
say in all of my years on planet Earth, it's really rare that you find a woman that's like, I love a good, like strong hoppy pale ale. I'm not saying they don't exist, but
Well, they're out there.
I have found more women tend, especially when they're a little bit on the older end, like I am, tend to go with the lighter things like the seltzers or the skinny margaritas or anything. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, the guys like the seltzers too. We host a big Halloween party here every year. It's adults only. Kick the kids out, costumes, we have prizes, all the things. And honestly, the seltzers are the first to go. And I know that isn't just all the ladies, so guys like them too, that's for sure.
Excellent. All right. Let's see what else we got on here. Uh, with tailgating. I want to
Hmm.
know. You've mentioned everything. You said Masters. We said Kentucky. We got Alabama. We got Ohio State. We got Talladega. We got, I think I said Kentucky Derby already. But what would you say the strangest event you've ever tailgated for would be?
Oh my gosh. Strangest.
Strangest. Halloween. We got the Halloween vibe right
Yeah,
now. What's
yeah,
strange about it?
Halloween. I mean, I want to say college was strange in general. There was all sorts of parties that was happening there. I don't even remember half of them, but those were those were pretty strange. I would say we were always doing some kind of date party or something. I was in a sorority of, so of course you had all those parties. Um, but gosh, Luke, I think any kind of bachelorette party can get a little strange. Or any kind of party of that nature. Sometimes it goes off the rails a little bit. I would have said if I would have known this question was coming up, I would have withheld the horse racing because people don't typically think about tailgating at horse racing but if you ever make it down to Kentucky, those people really know how to tailgate at those horse races. That's for sure.
That's still on my bucket list. I've always wanted to, and
Hmm.
for some reason I just haven't yet. So I need to. I probably need. I get a bigger hat. I know that
You,
part of there.
you got to have a big hat. Yep. Can't wear a baseball hat. You're probably going to need to put a suit on. You can still have that t-shirt you're wearing maybe underneath the suit, but you got to have the seersucker suit, the white shoes, you got to have all of that stuff and just look the part and just fake it till you make it. That's my motto when it comes to things like that.
So a tuxedo T-shir's not going to fly with that crowd.
Maybe in the infield. You're probably not going to go to, Millionaire's Lane or Millionaire's Row, but maybe in the infield. In the infield, all bets are off. You're lucky to have a shirt on in the infield.
Okay, all right. So the
Yeah,
infield's maybe where I need to play in because Millionaires Row might
maybe.
be
Yeah,
out of my price range.
maybe so. Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. All right, so back on the food part here. So we talked about a lot of the stuff inside of the house that you make, but talk about grilling.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, any tips, any like favorite foods on the grill? Because grilling's a big part of the tailgate when we get out there.
It is. And actually, I did several segments last month because last month was National BBQ Month. So we talked a lot about grilling. So, Luke, when it comes to grilling, you want to make sure that you have marinated everything at least 24 hours beforehand. You don't want to be waking up morning of and being like, oh my gosh, I got to put some dry rub on this. I got to figure something out. So, making sure that you're well prepared for that. Figuring out if you're going to actually use charcoal or if it's going to be gas. If you only have access to gas at a tailgate, which probably would make sense, you can actually put charcoal in aluminum foil and poke holes in it and stick that on the grill. And it'll kind of give your meat that charcoal smoky taste without actually cooking with the charcoal. And then if we're going with the meats, burgers are really just easy, especially if you have little ones coming to your tailgate as well. Hot dogs, brats. If you're going to go a little bit more extravagant and you're going to do the ribs, making sure that you prepare those ahead of time before you even arrive, because as everyone knows, ribs takes several hours. And I don't know what kind of maybe you are showing up to your tailgate 24 hours ahead of time. I don't know. You're
Some do the overnight thing. It
I
definitely
was gonna
happens.
say you're the tailgate expert, but making sure that you have everything prepared, and then whenever you're loading all of this stuff, I really recommend when you're loading up your car, when you're loading up your cooler, you start from the bottom up, meaning the stuff on top is the stuff that you need first, and then you kind of go from there. That way, you're not just pulling everything out and then you're like, oh my gosh, now I got to get everything started and that kind of thing. So, um, yeah, grilling is great. I think that doing extravagant, really fun meats and vegetables and skewers and stuff is wonderful, but also kind of sticking to the basics really wins over a crowd.
All right. So are you team propane or team charcoal if you had your pick?
I think charcoal's the way to go. I really do. I mean, if I flipped the camera around and you saw outside, there's a propane tank out there, but it doesn't taste the same. It really just doesn't. Uh, my husband, as the household is, he typically does the grilling. And we just kind of go with what's easy, but we don't have with the 5 kids. That's the wonderful thing about it. They're not like super, they don't have these palates yet, so they're just like, oh, this is wonderful, and we're like, oh, we made the hot dogs in the microwave, thanks. So it works just as well. Yeah.
And if it fails, go to Taco Bell. That's what we learned earlier,
Let's
right?
go to Taco Bell. Yeah, I know. We got the wrappers over there and everything. So that's okay. That's all right. Mom can take it. I got a tough skin.
You mentioned hamburgers, cheeseburgers, right? One of my favorite things, and kind of one of the classic things for a tailgate. So build the perfect hamburger right now. What's going on in?
Okay, so we're gonna have the brioche buns because they're just way better, in my opinion. We're going to put mayonnaise on them instead of butter to grill them. That's gonna give it a little bit more flavor. So you put the mayonnaise on the buns, you stick those on the grill. Okay, I like the smash burgers. Interesting fact about smash burgers, when you put all of the meat together, roll it into the ball, form it, smash it, put it in the freezer for about 10 minutes before you put it on the grill, if you can, or put it on ice. Then when you put it on the grill, it's going to hold the form better. It's going to hold everything together. Put the cheese in the meat too. You got to put the cheese into the hamburger meat before you put it on the smash burger. Then if we're talking about, I love aioli. I love Chipotle ranch. I've got to have the fresh lettuce, the onion, the tomato, all piled up. I'm not a huge fan of mustard. That's just my own personal preference, but some people are. You got to have the bacon on there as well. What am I missing? I don't know. I think that's about it. I think that would be probably the perfect burger to me.
Excellent. No, I haven't had dinner yet at the time of this episode, so I'm getting hungry right now talking about everything. I see those pork rinds over there too. I'm like pork rinds and the beers you have. So
Hmm.
I'm also thinking to myself, like, is there a pork rind beer pairing? And when I'm thinking like all the different flavors of some of these pork rinds that I love, I was like, I wonder, do some go with different styles of beer more? Have you ever experimented with that, or am I going crazy because I'm hungry?
No, I think you're 100% right. Southern Recipes Fall Batch Pork Rinds has so many different flavors. They have the hot honey, spicy dill, cracked pepper. I think I just have the original one out here. They even have a pineapple chili. They've got so many flavors. I love what this brand has done with pork rinds because I think they've really stretched the horizon and they've reinvented themselves to have new flavors on there. So I think pairing the original with just a normal, light beer is perfect. You could pair some of the more bolder ones like the hot honey, perhaps even with a stout, just to make it go crazy. IPAs as well. And then the chili or the spicy dill, I think would go really well with a hoppier beer. What I also love about the pork rinds is you can use these in place of breadcrumbs if you're doing any kind of fried chicken or anything like that. You can crush them up and put them on top of your macaroni and cheese casserole. You could crush them up and put them on top of your beer cheese. The pork rinds are delicious, especially if you're going to be tailgating for football. Pork, it makes sense. And they're just, you can even create a DIY nacho bar where you have pork rinds instead of tortilla chips because it's got a little bit more crunch to it. They're packed with protein and collagen, and they are keto friendly if anyone's going to be counting their carbs out there at the tailgate. So they're really wonderful and they're really flavorful and they're really versatile too. You can use them in a bunch of different recipes.
Yeah, and I will like the hot honey one is one of my favorite
I know.
flavors that I've had. It's like I didn't know growing up. I was a potato chip kid, and it's like as I've grown up, I'm like pork rinds. I feel like, and some people may not like to hear this, but I feel like I would take a pork rind over a potato chip any day of the week.
I
Any day of the
agree.
week right now with where I sit in life.
And it's funny that you mentioned that because whenever I'm hosting, I will also have pork rinds out, and they're one of the first things to go because it's unique. It's something different. You don't usually see pork rinds served with your dips, and you don't see it on the side of many things. So, like I said, a bunch of different flavors. They've really come a long way. I sometimes when people think of pork rinds, they think of things at the gas station that look like a pig ear. And it's just, they're not like that anymore.
It's
They're
not bad. It's delicious. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me.
very, yeah.
Okay. All the flavors you mentioned. What's your favorite? I said hot honey
I lo
was mine. What's
I
yours?
know. I know, I hate to piggyback, but hot honey is the best one, I think. Spicy dill is really good as well if you want a little bit of a kick, but the hot honey one is, like, it's amazing, and that's one I actually use on a lot of recipes is the hot honey because it just has that extra flavor that you weren't expecting. It just kinda sneaks up on you, and it's really, really delicious, and they're not too hot too. I think some people get nervous about hot, the word hot in anything. I don't think they're too spicy. I think they've got a really great flavor.
Yeah, I had to bring it back. I saw what you did a minute ago. You said piggy back on there, so
Do
I
you like
touche
that?
on that pun right there. And I also agree. Like I do not like hot. I'm not a spicy guy. I don't like hot. But there's none of these flavors that make me be like, oh, I can't eat it. Because people make fun.
Right.
They're like, I start sweating and everything if I get something too hot. And like these have the perfect amount of spice for a guy that's a little bit spice averse, if you will.
Oh my gosh. I wish, well, if I ever see you in person, I did a segment once with a couple of news anchors that was like a take off the hot ones. Have you seen hot ones on YouTube? Like
Oh,
the,
I
what,
mean, I've seen them before. I don't watch it because I was like, I don't want anything to do with anything that hot.
But one of the anchors I did not know, like he hated spicy and they totally set him up. And they were like, "Oh, he's going to be so excited, all this stuff." The poor guy was just like swollen and like crying and just I felt terrible. I felt terrible. So, I'm glad you brought up the point of hot, even at tailgates, I think it's totally acceptable to put on there like a little note that says this is spicy or contains jalapenos or something, and you can even have jalapenos on the side of your dips or have the hot sauce on the side. That way people can kind of make their own because there's a lot of people, out there, a lot of adults that just can't handle the spice and you don't want to be miserable. You don't want to be miserable for the entire game because you accidentally picked up a wing that was inferno or whatever.
Yep, yep, yep. I
Yeah.
remember, like, not to get off topic here. I remember I had a friend back in the day when we were in college, and he worked at a wing restaurant, and he would bring me like leftover wings because I was a poor college kid at the time. But he would always sneak one like really, really, really hot wing in there, and it's like, good luck finding it. And I was like, I
Yeah.
loved him for bringing me the wings, but I hated him for that one part too.
Oh, that's evil. I mean, funny because that's probably something somebody would have done to me as well. But yeah, yeah, that's funny.
Good stuff. All right. So let's get to know you a little bit better here with a few tailgating questions. Favorite tailgating game? Do you have a favorite tailgating game?
Game
Game.
I've been to? Is that what you're
Well, no,
asking?
like think cornhole, beer pong, like a game you played at tailgate.
Well, I mean, I saw on your bio that you're like the cornhole champion, so I feel like I should say cornhole. But yeah, but I do love cornhole. That was the big one in college. That was a lot of fun. Can jam's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I love
We do
Can
that
Jam.
one a lot. What else do we do? We have. I don't know what it's called, but we have washers. Do you know what I'm talking about? And you got to throw the washers. What is that called?
It's actually called washers.
Is it? Is it really called that? Oh my gosh. You see, a neighbor told me it was called washers, and I was like, yeah, right. It's not called
No,
washers.
they weren't lying to you.
Yeah. Well, that one's fun too. I like washers. But I'm glad tailgate games are just so fun. I just think you gotta have them at every tailgate for sure.
Agreed. And there's so many out there now too, and that's why I always like to kind of spread the gospel of just like there's more than just like ladder ball, washers, beer pong, cornhole. I mean, it goes on. I mean, there's hundreds of tailgating games now because it's blown, especially since COVID. Like it's blown up because of all the games people want to play. All right, so we got your favorite game. What's your favorite? I mean, we talked about some of the foods you would grill, but if someone's grilling something for you, you can have your favorite grilled meal at a tailgate. What's that going to be?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so boring, but I love a good marinated grilled chicken breast. Like I'm talking really good barbecue, ranch, all of the good things. I love chicken. My family makes fun of me because I could make it and serve it every single night of the week, but I love chicken and wings too. Excellent.
I mean, a chicken is a wing, right? So chicken,
That's
wing, chicken.
yes. Yep. 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 You're tracking.
All right. So aside from pork rinds, what's your favorite tailgating snack?
Snack. Um, I mean, dips, any kind of a dip is really good, I think. I also really like, the Chex mix that are really spicy that they mix up with the nuts and I don't know exactly what everyone calls it something different, but it's kind of got all of the ranch and the seasonings and it's just something that you can grab and go. That's something that I love. I have a recipe for it. I can't remember what it was called. It was my husband's grandmother's recipe, but any kind of like spicy Chex. I know you don't like spice, but I
Yeah, a
love
little
the.
bit is good, but
Okay,
inferno status is no bueno.
it's fair. That's fair. I get that.
All right. What's the aside from food, what's one thing that every tailgate needs to be fun that you want to go to? Like what's something that it has to have aside from food?
I think music. It's got to
Music.
have some tunes. Yes. If you have a tailgate that does not have music, and I'm not talking like you have to blare out the neighbors with, profanity, but you've got to have music. Otherwise, it's just dead. And you're just sitting there. If I don't have tailgate or if I don't have music at the tailgate I'm at, I'm looking at the people that have the music and I'm like, I think I'm going to go hang out with them now.
All right. So music, but what do you have a favorite tailgating song? Like if this were to come on this fall when you're sitting at a
Yeah.
Bears tailgate or something, like what are you gonna jam
Yeah.
to? What's gonna be that tune?
I mean, so I would say, well, Bears, maybe not, but if I'm going to Alabama, it's Sweet
Alabama.
Home
Okay.
Alabama, it's Dixieland Delight, it's all those, Rocky Top, even though that's a Tennessee song. But those are all the songs that kind of, I don't know, it just takes me back to like the college bar days when it was like everyone sang that and it's like, woo, it's a lot of fun.
For sure. I remember because I'm a University of South Carolina alumni, so I'm from the South as well too. And so like Sweet Caroline would be one of the ones that they pump in the stadium and everything too.
Yeah, and if you're going to an Ohio State, it's Hang On Sloopy. That's the one everyone
Yep.
just goes crazy over. Yeah.
We interviewed the Ohio State host like a week ago, and he said that exact same song on there.
Yep.
So that
Yep.
is the song for Ohio State, no doubt
That
about it.
is, yeah, the song for the Ohio State University.
All right. So one of the things I don't know if I coined this term, but there's a term that I have, and it's called instead of tailgating, it's called fail gating. So basically, something that went wrong at the tailgate. What is something people need to avoid to make sure they don't have a failgating experience when it comes to food?
When it comes to food, okay. We have to have enough, okay? Because if you don't, people are going to be moving on. You have to have enough food, you have to have enough drink. You also have to have trash cans, things people can throw stuff away. That's going to be a nightmare for the host. And also, I mean, this is going to sound ridiculous, but I don't go anywhere without baby wipes and just like little tiny wet ones, just things that people can wipe their hands with because hopefully they're getting really messy with the sauces and the ribs. So I think thinking of all of those things, making sure that you have enough seating if people want to sit, the games, the music, you just got to have it all. And I think that now is the time to start preparing it, making those checklists and making
Yep.
sure you have everything. And then keep that checklist for next year so you know what to bring and you know what to expect.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, that's what I had for us today. Are there any other tips or anything else you wanted to share that we didn't get to that we need to make sure people know about?
No, I just think preparing and having a good time and I guess one thing is just don't say next year we'll host or next year we'll go. Just make it happen and go and have a great
Make it
time.
happen. I like it.
Make it happen. Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, tell people like if they're like, man, like she dropped some knowledge. I want to follow her. Where can people find you? Give your shameless
Yes.
plug for yourself right now.
Sure. I'm on Instagram. It's just at Shanisty Ireland. I have a YouTube channel. I'm trying really hard. My 12-year-old is trying to help me. It's not nearly what your YouTube channel is, but I'm trying. And then I'm on TikTok and I also have a blog. It's called she'sbecomingdomestic.com. But I tell people, Luke, if you Google my name, Shanisty Ireland, I think I'm the only one out there. So you'll find me. So it's really easy.
So, and maybe I missed this part, but remind everybody and me too. Like, so you were in the TV biz, then you shifted
Hmm.
gears with the children. Like, how long now have you been out of the TV biz and into this side of life?
I have been out for 9 years
9 years.
doing
Okay.
doing the freelance part. So I still go down to the local Columbus stations once a month. I go up to Cleveland, Cincinnati, Dayton, and do all of that. And then I do a ton of Zooms as well. But actually going into the station, punching the time clock, I've been out for 9 years. So
It sounds like you still have your toe in the pool over there, right? Still doing some of the fun stuff with the TV
I
stations.
mean, yeah, and I don't, and I can say yes and I can say no. Where when you worked, at the
You
station,
say
I
yes,
miss
and that's it.
you say yes and you miss all the Christmas and you miss everything. So yeah, yeah, it's really good to be on this side of it.
For sure, for sure. Well, Chancey, thank you so much for being on our show today. We talked pork rinds, we talked some good beers, recipes, tips, got to know you better, got to know some of your favorite songs, all kinds of good stuff. Thank you for all the listeners that listen to the end. Thank you for listening to the end. We are your one-stop shop for all the good tailgating stuff. We're the easy button tailgate. So if you need tailgating tickets, whether it's an Alabama tailgate, Ohio State tailgate, or anything in between, tailgateconnect.com has you covered. Thank you all for tuning in and hope to see you at a tailgate soon.
Tailgate Connect, it's all here for you.